Welcome to the 2025 River Field Studies Network Year in Review. Rivers are vital ecosystems, they're complex, and they're in crisis. Field studies are vital for understanding these ecosystems, but they are also complex and in crisis. The NSF-supported River Field Studies Network community of practice is dedicated to responding to these paired crises. We do this by building river field instructor capacity, developing and sharing educational resources, promoting physical and emotional safety, and working to broaden participation. Here are some of the accomplishments of 2025 by the numbers. 2. In-person week-long workshops and teaching awards. 3. National symposia and grants awarded. 5. Webinars, articles, new academic programs. 11. Lessons published and lessons piloted. 12. New alumni, new recruits, and new courses created across the network. 13. Wilderness first aid, CPR, and swiftwater safety credentials awarded. 16. The number of alumni leaders that were stepped up to help run the activities of the network this year. 17. The number of states that were represented in our in-person workshops. 29. The total number of lessons in our open source library. 37. The number of in-person participants at our workshops. 49. The total number of River Field Studies Network scholars. 150. That was the number of participants that helped pilot lessons this year. 450. The number of participants in our webinars. 14,000. The total number of downloads of our open source lessons. 24,000. The number of times those lessons have been viewed. 50,000. The number of grant dollars received by our alumni related to Riverfield teaching activities. And 100% of our participants in our workshops this year would recommend them to friends. None of this would have been possible without the dedication of our leadership team, including the original project co-PIs, the River Safety Workshop leadership team, the 2025 Cheat River Rendezvous leadership team, and the new lesson creation, editing, and mentoring leadership team. Our River Field Scholar Professional Development Program is one of our focal activities aimed at developing instructor capacity and creating new lessons. This is a hybrid 9-month-long program which begins virtually in the spring with onboarding and pre-trip preparation. In the summer, we have our in-person River Rendezvous, which focuses on team building, field training, and lesson ideation. In the fall, we're back to virtual with lesson development, drafting, field testing, review, and revision. And then in the winter, we focus on disseminating by publishing these lessons to our Cubes Hub and sharing them at our virtual winter gathering. We've now trained 3 cohorts through this program. In 2022, the James River cohort. In 2023, the San Juan River cohort. And in the beginning of 2025, we graduated the 2024 new Klamath River Rendezvous cohort. 12 new certificates awarded. 100% of the participants that started completed the program. These scholars published a diverse set of 11 new lessons to our Cubes library. And already in 2025, these lessons have been viewed and downloaded nearly 4,000 times. This brings our total number of lessons in our Cubes Hub library to 29, and collectively these lessons have been viewed more than 24,000 times and downloaded nearly 15,000 times. Pre- and post-assessment of the Klamath River scholars revealed strong gains in sense of belonging among the participants across a variety of scales. And scholars agreed or strongly agreed that the program's activities helped to build their capacity to develop Riverfield lessons. Example Klamath participant comments include, "The River Field Studies Network was a key component in fostering my sense of community. Prior to it, I identified as an educator who conducted field lessons, but that was solitary, not a member of a broader community of professionals doing that. I believe that this has been a profoundly enriching professional development opportunity far and beyond others I have participated in. I have made some great contacts, professionals whom I would not have necessarily met at conferences or other workshops. Furthermore, even if I had met them elsewhere, there would not have been the same immersion for days on end that led to deeper connections. I think the River Field Studies Network is onto something very good." Overall satisfaction with the program was very high, 9.3 on a scale of 10. All of the scholars would recommend the program to their friends. They described a variety of things that made the program beneficial to them, and they all indicated that they want to stay involved in the network. In spring 2025, we recruited 12 new participants and kicked off their program with the Cheat River Rendezvous, which was hosted by West Virginia University faculty and Riverfield Scholar alum Nico Zeg. The Cheat Rendezvous programming emphasized building community among our participants, demoing and practicing field lessons and coming up with ideas for new field lessons, experiential learning pedagogy and group dynamics and facilitation skills, place-based learning and storytelling, how to develop community-engaged education and research programs, developing skills in river safety and boating, and given the unprecedented rainfall that we experienced, we had a special opportunity to practice how to pivot. Here are a few scenes from the Cheat River Rendezvous. Participants reported positive outcomes for these programming elements for both their sense of belonging and sense of learning. And overall, Cheat participants reported strong gains in both learning and belonging over the course of the workshop. 100% of the participants agreed or strongly agreed with the statement that, "I feel that I am a better educator because of my participation in the rendezvous." 100% agreed with the statement, interacting with fellow scholars was a valuable part of the rendezvous. 100% agreed that since participating in the River Scholar program, I am more likely to include one or more new river field studies lessons in my education instruction. And 90% of participants agreed or strongly agreed that I am more likely to organize a full-on river field course. Example comments from the cheat rendezvous include, I think the rendezvous helped me to better apply pedagogical techniques in spaces where I tend to act based on feelings and my own personal observation. I really appreciate the CUBE's lesson planning development for my own lessons, but the rendezvous also increased my confidence in adopting and adapting these plans for my classes, including topics outside of my wheelhouse. Or, building community with others who share similar motivations, priorities, and objectives in field science was buoying after a hard couple of years and reignited some passions and excitement for what we do. Or, the suite of experiences during the week on the cheat, especially connecting with people who live and feel deep affiliations with this place, really illuminated the layers and dimensions that make it special. I found myself reflecting a lot on similarities and differences to the places that I know more intimately, and I left with a deep appreciation for the landscape and its inhabitants. As the network matures, we're increasingly relying on our alumni to take on leadership roles, and indeed the Cheat River Rendezvous was almost entirely led by alumni. But this also requires us to ask if we're supporting our alumni in taking on these responsibilities. 100% of our alumni involved in the leadership of the Cheat Rendezvous felt that they did get good support from the network in taking on this leadership role. And example comments include, absolutely, this was my first time being on a large leadership community, and I was worried that I wouldn't be able to help all that much. However, all the leaders were super supportive, and I felt comfortable to contribute even without the same amount of experience as everyone else. Or, I think a real strength of the rendezvous this year was the time that we set aside for reflection and metacognition. We did this as a leadership team with daily check-ins and planning meetings where we discussed how things had gone and were going, and with the participants as well as we adjusted our plans in response to river conditions. That provided opportunity to talk about risk assessment and how we solicit feedback and how to make adjustments on the fly, etc. For more information about the rendezvous, you can see the short article that Nico published in the fall issue of the RMS Journal. As this year in review goes to press, the current Cheat River cohort of scholars are in the midst of reviewing and revising lessons that they've developed and piloted at their home institutions. Their draft lessons were due in mid-August, and these were subject to peer review by the network. Each lesson received at least 2 reviews from peers in the cohort as well as alumni. These reviews were due in mid-September. The scholars then piloted these lessons with a test audience of students or peers in their home watersheds. That was to be completed by early November, and then to make a second draft of their lessons by mid-November, which is currently where we're at. And this second draft is being peer reviewed, and then after those revisions are incorporated from the second review, we will publish these lessons to CUBES and share them at our winter gathering. Just one anecdote from the lesson piloting process this year. Dr. Shaylee Valentine is a postdoc who is currently on the market for a faculty position, so she didn't have her own class to pilot it with. So instead, she took her food web lesson on the road, and she actually piloted it at 2 different schools, Hope College and Wabash College, and those are colleges where some of her cohort mates from the Cheat River Rendezvous currently teach. Although lesson piloting is distributed across the country, we use a Google Form lesson evaluation rubric to gather feedback from all of the participants that the lesson is piloted with that we can then share back in an anonymous form to the instructors to help them improve their lessons after testing them in the field. A diverse audience of more than 150 people engaged in piloting the lessons in this way, and more than 100 of them provided detailed feedback. And although these new lessons were being taught for the very first time, the participants felt that the instructors did a good job at accomplishing their stated learning objectives overall. And there was strong agreement with statements like, I enjoyed this lesson. I would recommend this lesson to other students. The instructor was enthusiastic and knowledgeable. This lesson enhanced my interest in doing field science. I learned valuable skills from this lesson, and I gained valuable knowledge from this lesson. In 2025, the River Field Studies Network also offered a new week-long workshop focused specifically on river safety skills. This was held at the VCU Rice River Center just outside of Richmond, Virginia. We had 13 participants from across the eastern U.S. Who stayed for the entirety of the program. And this included current River Field Scholars, alumni from the Field Scholars Program, as well as some aspiring River Field Scholars. In addition, we had a number of day participants from the greater Richmond area that participated for one or more of the day workshop. The workshop included programming on group facilitation, preventing sexual harassment in the field, wilderness first aid, CPR, swiftwater safety training, and disability inclusion frameworks. Here are a few scenes from the Field Safety Week. Participants ranged from undergraduates to late career professionals. And through the workshop, the participants received these professional credentials from accrediting agencies in wilderness first aid, CPR, and swiftwater safety. And post-workshop assessment showed that the participants viewed the main learning areas of group facilitation, preventing harassment, first aid and CPR, river safety, and improving access as all important. And they felt that their knowledge improved in these areas through the workshop, and that their ability to apply skills in these areas also improved through the workshop. Furthermore, the hands-on and residential aspect of the week-long workshop also delivered some positive, effective outcomes. The participants felt very strongly that the workshop enhanced their sense of belonging, that I strongly identified with the community building aspects of the workshop, and that they would recommend it to their colleagues. Example comments from participants include, the training was spot on and clearly translated to credentials I can articulate for my teaching/resume. Beyond that, the people and the community were exceptional, and that is probably the biggest takeaway for me. Or, over the week, I had a great conversation with another participant about how much we thought that the icebreakers set the tone for our week together. It helps that the participants were also great and willing to engage, but I think that these activities catalyzed positive group interactions that led to a more rapid bonding and mutual comfort among participants that often takes more time to achieve. Or, it made me really reflect on my field experience and that I've had no effective training in how to handle situations, and that safety in the field has never been a priority for the places I've worked for. I plan to use the template to build a field safety protocol and to share this information with my future lab members and department. You can read more about the workshop in the article that we published in the River Management Society Journal, the VCU News, and even in the Ada, Oklahoma newspaper. In 2025, the network also completed its first draft of the Risk Management Guidelines for River Courses protocol, which is currently under review with our colleagues at Sierra Rescue and the VCU OAP Outdoor Adventure Program, and we hope to release this in the new year. This year, we also co-organized and participated in 3 major special sessions at national meetings. We hosted the Who Will Steward Our Rivers Succession Planning for Future River Leadership workshop at the River Management Society Training Symposium, Restoring Rivers for a Resilient Future in April in Ashland, Oregon. We sponsored the Revitalizing Community and Landscapes by Connecting Rivers, People, and Science Through Field Experiences special session at the International Society for River Science meetings this past October, Many Rivers, One Global Society Facing the Challenges. And then in a few weeks here, we will participate in Watershed Moments, Experiential Learning in Hydrologic Sciences at the American Geophysical Union 2025 meetings in New Orleans in December. We also hosted 5 network-wide virtual webinars, Reimagining Indigenous Land Acknowledgements for Engaged River Science by Dr. Ryan Emanuel in January, Getting Serious About STEM Education Reform, Transforming Learning Through Course-Based Undergraduate Research Experiences with Kelly McDonald in February, The Science of Awe and Practical Tips on Leveraging It for Science Learning with Dr. Craig Anderson in March, Changing the Flow, Accessible Student-Centered River-Based Learning at the Four Corners Water Center by alumni Carolyn Cummings and Caitlin Matos in September, and then most recently, International Society for River Science session highlights with Jack Severson and Kira Waldman in October. And collectively, these webinars have attracted more than 450 viewers. A really exciting outcome of 2025, as the network is maturing, we're starting to see our alumni contributing to creating more new courses across the country. This year, 12 new field courses were created by alumni, leveraging their experiences with the program and the lessons that they engage with and help create. And these field courses are across the country, from field courses in Colorado to North Carolina, Arizona, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Arkansas, Oklahoma, all over the country. Our faculty are creating new river courses for their students. You can read more about 2 of these courses in the River Management Society Journal. Also new for 2025 is the Waters That Connect Us program, led by River Field Studies Network co-founder Dr. Danielle Perry at Northern Arizona University in collaboration with the Universidad Austral Patagonia. This is a hybrid course which includes both online and field session components that's focused on international collaboration, explicitly designed to combine the elements of the River Field Studies Network and also the River Management Society's River Studies and Leadership Certificate program. Our faculty are creating lessons, and these lessons are now contributing to full-on field courses, and these field courses are now actually contributing to new academic programs, multi-course programs across the country. Our faculty helped create 5 new academic programs in 2025. At the University of Nevada, Reno, they established an Outdoor Adventure Leadership minor, which supports their river field education. Northeastern State University in Oklahoma also developed an Outdoor Experiential Education Certification program for education and science majors. The University of Maine Farmington established a new university in the River Management Society River Studies and Leadership Certificate program, as has the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. And the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse also established an Associated River Studies minor. As I mentioned, 2 of those new programs that were created were new River Studies and Leadership Certificate schools within the River Management Society program. And again, this partnership is deep and ongoing. It's the case that now that nearly 90% of these certificate programs around the country are led by either leaders or alumni in our program. And that the River Rendezvous program, the River Scholar program, is in fact an incubator for new River Studies and Leadership Certificate schools. Almost every cohort, we see some of our alumni connecting with the River Management Society and starting new programs at their universities. In 2025, we continue to provide advisory support for the Society for Freshwater Sciences Emerge field trip program, which is a field trip for their new participants that immediately precedes their national meeting. And we were able to reconnect with our partners, the International Association for Geoscience Diversity, in providing programming about how to deliver accessible field courses through Dr. Anita Marshall's workshop, which she hosted at the last day of our river field safety workshop. And as we bring this report to a close, just want to end on some shout outs to some of our members who are doing amazing things. For example, co-founder Dr. John McLaughlin participated in the 2025 Innovative Teaching Showcase at Western Washington University. James River cohort alum Dr. Liz Waring won a state-level award for her teaching, a 2025 Da Vinci Institute Creativity in Education Fellow for her participation in the collaborative Buffalo River Field Course, which involved alumni and faculty from 3 different universities. Klamath River cohort alum John Kayantash for receiving an internal grant to take his students out to the field, and also for presenting the lesson that he created as a scholar at both the International Society for River Science meeting and the coming AGU meeting. And San Juan River cohort alumni Dr. Ross Vandervorst from University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, who received a $30,000 Freshwater Collaboratives grant to develop a new field course. And he's also establishing a new River Management Society River Studies and Leadership Certificate program at his university, as well as the associated minor. And he says, I got the grant through the Freshwater Collaborative of Wisconsin to run a course for 1 year. The $32,000 will provide 10 students with scholarships, stipends for 5 instructors and trip leaders, and equipment and supplies. You'll see that I'm basically using the model of the River Field Studies Network program within the University of Wisconsin system. And Dr. Andy Roast of University of Nevada, Reno, who received a $20,000 grant to restart an outdoor leadership program at that institution. And this one was particularly exciting to see. If you go back into the River Field Studies Network vaults to the origin story, you'll see that the full proposal that we were funded on was written by ideas that came out of a 2019 Camp Lotus rendezvous. And that rendezvous was hosted by Andy, and it was supported also by the Sierra Nevada College students and rafting guides. But then Sierra Nevada College went under, and for many years, since then, Andy has not been able to teach that course. And so it was really exciting when I was out for the International Society for River Science meetings in Davis, California. I was able to visit Camp Lotus, and who was there but Daryl and Andy with the restarted river program and their students, and even some of the same rafts. And so it's really exciting to see that he's had the University of Nevada, Reno folks have had the resilience to sort of bring back this great program. And congratulations for getting some funding to help make that happen. Looking ahead to 2026, we plan to have the following in-person trainings. Another cycle of the River Field Scholar Program. Applications should be available for that very shortly. You can scan the QR code here to get the latest information. And as part of that program, we will be hosting the Illinois River Rendezvous in Tahlequah, Oklahoma on the 7th through the 13th of June. And this will be hosted by Dr. Liz Waring of Northeastern State University in Oklahoma, who is an alum of the James River Cohort program and also was one of the leaders on the most recent Cheat River program. In addition, we hope to offer another river field safety workshop at the Rice River Center in Richmond. The current plan is to offer that between the 2nd and the 8th of August. Looking ahead for the River Scholars Program, the applications for that will be due the 1st of February. As we are entering into the final year of our regular NSF funding, the leadership team is working to establish partnerships with other organizations to try to make sure that the mission of the River Field Studies Network continues on post-funding. And if you'd like to support the network, feel free to scan the QR code in the upper right and leave your information, and somebody from the network will reach out to you. And this year's report is dedicated in memory of Dr. Sarah Preskiewicz, in memory of her friendship and her many important contributions to our community. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you on the river.